He may have been called the diminutive giant and little poison, call him what you will, but Paul Runyan proved to be a giant slayer at the 1938 PGA Championship. Played at the Shawnee Country Club in Pennsylvania, Runyan defeated the legendary Sam Snead 8-7 for his second PGA Championship in 4 years. Although Snead consistently outdrove Runyan by more than 40 yards per hole, Runyan's sound iron play and deadly short game proved to be the difference in the championship. His victory was also the most lopsided ever in the 40 PGA Championships that were decided at match play. Paul, if Sam Snead had had Jack Nicklaus's course management skills, would Snead have ever lost to anybody? If Sam had...
I wish I could quite equate that. I think that Sam Snead's skills at course management, and certainly his skills at the playing of the game, is second to none that ever lived. But it's my opinion that Snead was a weak competitor. Something about his upbringing or something about the man himself, I don't know what would account for this, but I feel that he was a very, very weak competitor. Because even though he won so often because of the stellar part of his skills, he still lost many times under unbearably embarrassing situations. He, on many occasions, found it convenient to take a double bogey or a triple bogey or even a quadruple bogey in the late holes, such as his finish at Spring Mill, such as his finish in the Los Angeles Open, such in his play against me in the finals of the 1938 PGA Championship, because Snead was not himself the day he played me. He lost all 4 of the 5-par holes in the morning to a light hitter. It's true I made 4 fours, but he made 5s on every one of them. And of the 3 5-par holes we played in the afternoon, he loses 2 more of those. So he virtually lost the PGA Championship to me on the weakness of his play on the 5-par holes, which seems unaccountable to me. But many times he was weak in the finishing of his play, rather than any shortcomings in his skills or anything else. I think he was a weak competitor.
We've got Maggie Will from the LPGA on the phone with us. Hello, Maggie.
Hi, Peter.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you for calling us.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
It's a pleasure.
You guys have done so much for our tour. We really appreciate the Golf Channel.
Thank you.
But tonight we're enjoying Mr. Runyan's stories and reminiscing.
Thank you.
And my fiance is a huge golf buff and quite a history buff. And we would like to know your favorite Bobby Jones story.
Me
We're
too.
going to Augusta tomorrow morning.
Well, my favorite Bobby Jones story would be to have had the opportunity to have been paired with him in the first Masters Championship. During the 6 or 7 years that he played in the Masters, anyone that was leading scorer, leading money winner, had the privilege of playing the first rounds in the Masters with Bob Jones. And then they played the course in reverse of what they play it today. The present second hole was then the 11th hole. And in my round with him, his ball came to rest on the facing of the steepest part of that downhill that was the length of the big hitter's drives. His drives on that steep part was some 30 yards closer to the hole than mine on a level spot. The pin was cut to the right and very close over the bunkers. My second shot hit as hard as I could hit it. Was no danger of me reaching the bunkers close to it, but I got it straight at the hole, some 40 or 50 yards short of the bunker, which was a very pleasant circumstance for me. His shot from off of that steep facing of that hill carried up so brightly and fine, I thought, oh, he's hit it too far, he's going to be in the bunker. I thought he was trying to play short like I was, but instead his shot carried 14 feet from the hole, and still on those slick fast greens had enough height and spin to stop it only 18 feet behind the hole. That, to my mind, was the finest single wood club shot I've ever seen anybody hit. And in my 76 years of experience in golf, I've seen a lot of fine fairway wood shots, but that one is the king of them all.
And this was 4 years after he'd retired.
Yes, after he'd retired, yes.
Maggie, who do you like this week?
4 years after he retired, Tom.
Are you still there, Maggie?
Yes, I am.
Who do you like this week?
Well, I have, who did I pick? I picked Davis Love.
A nice choice, and he's due, isn't he?
I too think Davis Love.
Hey, way to go, Paul. I like that.
Hey, thanks for calling us tonight. What a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Let's talk about another player of the time, Kai Laffoon, who was a great player, and I want to know, is it true that he really did tie his putter to a string to the back of his car and drag it from tour stop to tour stop to punish it for three putting?
He just did it for the one time, because when he drug it from Houston to New Orleans, and when he got there, there's no head on it at all. It's just the shaft dangling behind it, and it's worn until it's, I don't know what length, but the head had worn off long before.
He's a great player and a great personality, wasn't he?
Well, personalities.
Tell me.
Well, here or on the air?
Right here.
Well, on many occasions, he was the first player, incidentally, to break 70 for a full year's tournament golf. He was the first one to go. He had 69 some fraction, and he was the first to break that barrier. In addition to that, he was an eccentric. This dragging the putters only one slight one. We're playing at Sacramento in the little $5,000 tournament, and he was about a shot behind the lead or two at the end of the first round. Second round, he comes to the 18th hole, a 3-par, and he's got about a 9-footer for a 2. He misses the 9-footer and walked over and picked it up and put it in his pocket. He didn't hold it out. And we all thought, well, what in the world did he do this for? Well, it turned out he had made a comment a few days before that he was never going to take more than 72 in a tournament round again. And that was his 72nd shot, so he picked it up and put it in his pocket. He didn't live up to the promise. That was the last time I think he ever did it, but he did do it that one time.
Makes perfect sense to me. We're going to take a short break, Paul. We will be right back with more
were
Paul
we on
Runyan.
the air then?
Yeah, we're on the air.
Oh, I didn't think so.
Oh, no, that was a perfectly acceptable story, and if it hadn't been, I'd have told
But
you.
I wasn't watching. I was watching. Well, I was talking.
No, we were supposed to be chatting. We'll be right back and do this some more. Don't go away. You know, you mentioned, Paul, Sam Snead at Spring Mill in 39, and for people who don't know, of course, Sam made an 8 on the last hole, and he didn't get into the playoff with Byron and Craig Wood. And Byron, of course, made that eagle, too, with a 1-iron in the playoff. How much better, I know you have an opinion about this, you think Byron, if he'd been pushed harder, could have even reached higher plateaus, don't you?
I don't think there's any question about it.
Tell me.
You mean about the 5th? Are we on the air?
Yes, sir.
Well, Byron's winning 11 in a row and 15 out of 18 is a record that will never be touched. However, score-wise, had he been pushed during that same period, he'd have scored lower. He might not have won as frequently, because a great champion, and he was every inch a champion. A great champion is as good as he has to be. I'm convinced that Bobby Jones today would have been better than he was. Hagen today would have been better than he was. Byron today would have been better than he was, because those are people that, from a competitive standpoint, were great in every sense of the word, in addition to being great shot makers and great players. Nelson is a prince among men. My impression from what I've heard him say, that he was brought up in a very strict religious atmosphere. And most young people I know that have been brought up under those circumstances, usually when they become on their own, they're grown and on their own, go a little hog wild. But not Nelson. He's still the same gentleman. And I've never known Nelson to do but one thing that was the slightest bit risque. and I'm going to take a chance that I won't be blackballed for doing this. But I'm playing a practice round with Horton Smith, Bobby, and Byron Nelson, and Jug McSpaden. And these are three people that I really enjoy golfing with. And it's Augusta, and it's one of those April days that are absolutely perfect. And when the weather is benign and you're at Augusta, you're as close to heaven as you're going to be on this earth. And we've all hit good drives, and we started up that first hole. And when we got to the front of that tee and drops off quickly, Nelson jumps up in the air and lets out a scream, said, "I feel so good, I could play all day and all night."
And he clicked his heels, right?
Clicked his heels. And every time I think of that, I start laughing now. If my friend Sam Snead had said the same thing, I wouldn't have laughed at all. What made it different?
A little out of character for Byron, wasn't it?
Completely out of character.
Let's go ahead and say hi to Mike. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Peter. Thank you. Mr. Runyan, I attended a PGA teaching workshop that you and Ken Casey held down at PGA National. And I just wanted to thank you. I adopted your chipping method right away, and I teach it to all my pupils. And the funny thing is, most of the women that I teach and the seniors seem to adapt it right away. But the hot shots, they always say, "Well, this book's better, and this book's better, and who's Paul Runyan anyway?" And I tell them, "You'll never get any better unless you adopt this method." So I want to thank you. I adopted it soon after the workshop, and I've kept it ever since. Perfect.
Well, I can't tell you how proud I am to hear that it helped you and is helping you in your instruction. However, let me point out this. When a person is a hotshot, as you said, they have a right to their opinion. They have a right to pass up some things that might even be better than they would have suspected. But the one thing that allowed me to compete on equal terms, if not completely equal, on reasonably equal terms with people that are superior in length than I, was not the putting as much as the chipping. Because none of the great players of my time chipped the same way I did. None of the great players of this time chipped the way I did, excepting those that were contemporaries of mine. People like Chuck Courtney, Gene Littler. Littler's never adopted it completely, but almost completely. There's an axiom: if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. Well, they haven't exactly beaten the path to my door. But I'll tell you this, I'm certainly glad that the Byron Nelson, the Ben Hogans, the Walter Hagans, all of those contemporary minds did not chip with a putting technique. Because if they did, I might not have been anything like as successful as I was.
You're very modest. In 1951, speaking of Hogan, when he won in 51 at Oakland Hills, you finished sixth that year, but yet you hadn't been playing the tour regularly for some time. No,
I was in the jewelry business at that time. I was a wholesale jewelers representative for Jack's Chrysler Jewelry of New York.
Now, why would you have made a switch from being one of the best players to doing that?
When the war came along and I was out of golf, Mr. Toby Stern of Metropolis convinced me that I would make a heck of a jewelry salesman. And he says, "I guarantee you'll make twice as much money as you ever made playing golf." So I went for that because I had a young family then. But I did continue to practice and work because I had certain periods when I was inactive in the jewelry business. And I continued to compete fairly successfully in a lot of the tournaments. And I was then a professional at Annandale Country Club in Pasadena, where I'm now an honorary member. And I did the stupidest thing I've ever done in golf, and that was that on the Friday before I was to go to New Jersey Detroit to play in the tournament, I took a new putter with me, one that I'd gotten in just that day or two before for sale in the shop, and I took it out to try it myself, and I shot 61 with it. Well, that was the worst break I could get because I was sure that was better than mine. So I put it in my bag and left mine at home. Well, I didn't take the two with me because I soon recognized that the new putter, I didn't understand its variables. So I putted extremely badly for the full 54 holes till, well, as a matter of fact, for 72, because my putter couldn't get to me by air. It got to me on the fourth day after I'd already teed off. And I putted very poorly for the full 72 holes until finished fifth. I think I was the only player in the tournament, I think the records will prove this, that I didn't have a single double bogey in the 72 holes. And every one of them had at least one.
That's hard to do when you don't have your putter with you, too.
Yes, and I three-putted my eyes out. It was just the most terrible blunder I've ever made in golf.
May it be the worst thing that ever happened to you. We're going to take a short break, Paul. We're going to be right back.
Thank you.
And Paul Runyan's going to demonstrate when we come back some chipping, some putting. Stay with us. You're not going to want to miss this. Welcome back. Please share with us your keys to great pitching.
There are three keys, ladies and gentlemen, to good pitching. Number one is to never allow the palm of your lower hand to get behind the directional position of the face of the club. This is wrong. This is right. It can be ahead of the directional position, but never behind it. The second key is to never overreach. Be doubly sure that your club is never below the bottom of the ball. Be sure that it's suspended in your hands, but well below the apex in the ball. And the third key is to be sure that your weight is fractionally off balance towards your front foot so that you'll never get a fat shot, that you're assured in making this type of stroke that your club will not catch the ground before it gets to the ball. Under reach by less than half the diameter of the ball, right hand in line with the head of the club, weight on the left side.
And that's for everything, including full pitches as well?
It would be, that's including every shot in the bag, but it's particularly important in less than full shots. In the full swings, you're just doing the same thing with a longer grip and of course, a bigger swing.
Let's go ahead and do some putting. If you do that right over here for me, Paul, right where that P is for Paul, and we can putt, and you're going to putt towards this hole right over here.
This one?
No, right over here.
This one.
Look this way. Here you go.
This,
and I'm going to put the balls on this side for you.
Okay. It is an absolute must, in my opinion, that the feet should be in a box-like square position so that the spine can bend over at a direct right angle to the path you want the club to go on. To let the foot turn out the slightest bit will make it difficult for your spine to stay at right angle. It'll want to be to the left of right angle. In that case, if the face of the club is then pointing to the target, you'll be cutting the putts. So a box-like square position. Get the hands opposed to each other so that the right hand will not permit the left hand to open the face of the club. The left hand is far enough forward that the right hand cannot close the face of the club. Even if you use your wrist, it would be extension and flexion rather than pronation and supination. Once you're in that position, be sure that the shaft of your club is perpendicular to the ground so that you catch the ball at the very bottom of the arc of the swing. Then, with your hands separated so that the distance from the upper hand to the lower hand is extended so that when you're changing directions, the change of direction will not cock your wrist. We want to make the stroke with a pure one-lever technique so that when you catch the ball is rolling true, that it has no left or right hand English to it. Be sure that if you're on a downhill slope, that your weight is forward until the shaft is perpendicular with the ground. If you're on an upslope, the opposite. If the ball's below your feet, lean forward. If the ball's above your feet, lean back. But most particularly, keep addressing the ball with a box-like square position with your hands separated so that it's a one-lever technique, so that the ball is hit with a true overspin and no side spin.
What do you feel the extent of your grip pressure is?
The grip pressure is in direct relationship to the amount of energy you're trying to control. If it's a very short putt, you're gripping the club very lightly so that it won't cock the wrist. If you've got a very long putt, 70, 80, 90 feet, your grip is considerably firmer so that when you're making the longer stroke, it still will not let the wrist break down.
And what initiates the motion both directions?
The swinging of the arms. The unit, it's a swinging, pulling of the right arm going back and a pushing of the left, a pulling of the left and a pushing of the right. One lever technique.
We're going to spend a few more minutes with Paul Runyan. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this. Tell me, looking back over your career, what's been the greatest thrill and greatest satisfaction in your career?
Where do I look?
Right at me.
Oh, my greatest thrill would be the fact that of the 28 PGA Championships that I won, I might have won by the greatest numbers of strokes of anybody in the history of golf. I can't prove this. I don't know what the records prove. But of the 28 players I was fortunate enough to win in the PGA Tours, 8 of them were by 8 or more strokes. I won the North and South Open one time by 9 shots. I won the Florida Year-Round Open by 11 shots. I won one other tournament in Florida at the Bellevue Biltmore by 8 shots. I won the PGA by 8 up and 7 to play. And there was one other that escapes my attention right now by 9 shots.
Now is that the...
And the satisfaction now, the greatest satisfaction comes in the realization that I, along with Cyril Walker weighed 118 pounds.
Won the Open in 24.
Won the Open. But that's about all he did. He was not known as a great teacher. He was not known for any other of his wins. But in my case, he and I might, with me, maybe a little more than he, struck a blow for the light hitters in golf. We came fairly close to proving that a good little man in golf had the best chance against a good big man than any other sport, with the possible exception of badminton or ping pong. So this is my greatest satisfaction.
Very quickly, who do you like watching on the PGA Tour today?
Well, with the eye of an instructor, I like to watch Davis Love more than anyone, because I feel that Davis Love, technique-wise, has the greatest technique of any of the great players of the younger crop. I do feel that I wish he'd stop those fast cars and those airplanes and go to work, because I think he is not living up to the expectations of his father, and certainly not up to my expectations as a great player.
Well, you have lived up to, in your career, in your personal life, and here tonight, everybody's expectations. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a great thrill and a great honor.
Well, it's been a great thrill to me, and I'm sure my business is going to get better as a result.
You can't handle all the action that's going to be coming your way. Thank you again, Paul, for being with us, and thank all of you. See you next week. No, we'll see you here on Thursday night, right here, as we cover the Masters. Be with us. Good night, everybody.
You're watching the Golf Channel.